issue is that the Palestinian people have been under occupation since 1967. That was the year I left secondary school. The whole of my life, since becoming an adult, so to speak, the Palestinian people have been under occupation. And that is fundamentally what the issue is. Now, I don't want anybody killed. I don't want any bombs. I don't want any rockets. I want peace. But you're only going to get that with recognition of the Palestinian people. And that means ending the occupation, ending the settlements, removing the settlements, ending the siege of Gaza, and also recognizing the rights of Palestinian refugees who've lived their whole lives in Jordan, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq. Every country all around the Gulf, there are Palestinian refugees who have lived their whole lives like that. I went to Sabra and Shantilah some years ago with the late Sir Gerald Kaufman, who was then a Labour MP. He's passed on now. And he was a Jewish man, was actually, for much of his life, very pro-Israel. And he was more and more disgusted at the treatment by the Israeli forces of Palestinian people. And we went to the refugee camps in Lebanon together. I've never forgotten meeting an old man whose whole life, since being a very small child, had been in this refugee camp since 1948, his whole life. And he had this dream that one day he'd be able to return to the village he was expelled from in 1948. And so there is a big human story here, and I think that has to be said. But the events of the past week have been unbelievable and extraordinary. As Mustafa said, there are no rockets being fired from the West Bank. People are being killed on the West Bank. The Israeli occupation forces are destroying homes, destroying families, destroying people. The bombing of Gaza is incredible. You have first world military planes bombing Gaza and destroying those buildings. And that building that was destroyed today, which contained the Al Jazeera and Associated Press studios and offices, that was scientifically destroyed by an air raid. The big building that was destroyed the other day contained many other organizations. I've been in those buildings during visits to Gaza in the past. There can be no possible justification under any rules for that. Israel is in breach of the Fourth Geneva Convention. Israel is in breach of its obligations as an occupying power. And the world has got to wake up. And that means ending military cooperation with Israel, and I have questions for the British government on the degree of military cooperation with Israel, ending all arms supplies and arms imports from Israel, because what we see is the destruction of the lives of Palestinian people.
Thanks for watching this clip from DDN Live. If you want to watch the whole video, simply click the link below. But most importantly, support the incredible work of Double Down News by visiting their Patreon page and becoming a patron now. Join the future of journalism, support alternative analysis to the mainstream media.